Everyone would ask you when you were little, what do you want to be when you grow up? And now we're grown up and don't know what we're doing with our lives. Hi, my name is Madeline and I am a college and career life coach. I help high school students, college students, and young adults navigate the confusion that is life after graduation. Whether it's choosing your first career path or changing to a new career path, I am here to help you figure out what it is that you are doing with your life. So welcome, get comfortable, and let's hang out together. Hello, everyone. Welcome to my podcast. My name is Madeline, and I am here just to kind of get some things off my chest, drop some knowledge nuggets, and connect with you guys. So thank you for tuning in, and I hope you enjoy. On today's episode, I wanted to discuss success and talk about how society views success, how success is ingrained in our brains, and how we should actually be viewing success and new ways to approach it. So stay tuned and let's get into it. So success. How would you define success? I mean, really, let's think about how society views it. It's kind of like someone is considered successful if they have a steady, quote unquote, job, if they have bought a house for themselves, if they've got a car for themselves, if they're managing, I guess, life on their own, like surviving independently, surviving adulthood, essentially. And I'm just here to tell you, like, success is so much more than that. And I've really come to realize that here recently. So basically, what I got inspired to talk about are the two things that people don't understand about success. The first thing that I want you to know is that success looks so different for everyone. I mean, I've said it before, it's not like cookie cutter cutouts, right? Like, it's not going to look the same from person to person. Everybody is unique, and that means success is going to be, or the definition of success is going to be unique to each individual. And the cool part about that is you get to define it for yourself. You get to decide. It's not you having to live up to someone else's expectations of what they think success is. You get to decide. I mean, you get to live life on your own terms. And I think that's the most beautiful thing about, everybody being a unique and special individual is we get to live life on our own terms and choose a life that makes us happy. And we just get to live life according to who we are. And we don't owe anybody an explanation at the end of the day. So for instance, success to my next door neighbor may look like being able to work a steady 9-to-5 job, 40 hours a week, to be able to pay their bills, and be able to afford the hobbies or the other things that they like. Whereas to me, I didn't find joy in working 40 hours a week because I didn't have enough time to provide me with the work-life balance that I desired. I decided to start my own business not only because it was something that, I'm passionate about, but also because it was more aligned with the lifestyle that I envisioned for myself. I envision being my own boss and only answering to me, and being able to travel or spend the extra time with my family, take a day off and not have to ask permission for it, So for me, what it all boils down to is what's going to make you the happiest at the end of the day is keeping yourself busy 40 hours a week, dedicating the majority of your life to a job so that you can have money that pays your bills. Is that what's going to make you happy? Or is it going to be you starting your own business or being a freelancer and just making your own schedule, working for yourself? Or is it something in between? Like, what does your dream life look like? What do you want your life to look like, and why can't you achieve that today? This is actually the first question I start my clients off with is, what do you want your life to look like? What does your dream life look like? Where do you see yourself 6 months from now, a year from now, 5 years from now? And why can't you achieve that today? But also, what can we do to start today? All you have to do is start. That's what my coach, Lindsay Hanson, tells me. What are you doing today to start the rest of your life, to start your new dream life? Because it may seem so far away, but I promise you it's right at your fingertips. I'm here to tell you whatever it is that you're dreaming of is 100% tangible and attainable today. Literally today, as we speak. And this is what I help people figure out, like listening to each individual person, what their desires are, what their interests are, figuring out what path they want to take with their life. I mean, all of this, like just imagining their dream life is what lays the groundwork for the work that we do together and the change that we make together. So this is like an essential thought-provoking activity, but also a mindset changing activity as well. Just knowing that it doesn't matter how big your dream is, you can start little by little today to get that big dream accomplished. It's never too early to start. It's never too late to start. If you're hearing this and you're thinking about it, I guarantee you right now is the perfect time to start. Had I continued to approach life and success and happiness the way that society wants us to, I would have stayed in a job that didn't serve me. On paper, I was successful. I graduated with a 4.0, not to brag. I was definitely bragging, sorry. I graduated with a 4.0. I had a job when I graduated, started into that job, bought myself a house, and moved out, became totally independent, was paying my own bills, and had money left over. And, like I said, on paper, I was successful, right? But I wasn't happy. I got to the point where I was crying every day before work. I was crying on the weekends because of work. And I worked second shift. Everybody in my life was first shift. So I wasn't I was just overwhelmed the fact that everything that I wanted to do with my free time was pushed into a 48-hour period on the weekends. And I just quickly came to realize, this is not the life that I imagined for myself. There's so much more to life than this. Working my life away, barely seeing my loved ones, barely having time to rest and be productive, and just, me time. There was just so many things I felt like I was lacking. And that's really what pushed me to reevaluate what I consider success to look like for my life. And I had to stop ignoring my deepest desires and come into alignment with them and shift some things in my life to where it was more aligned with what I envisioned for myself. And when I started doing that, everything else started falling into place. And that's when I decided I had to leave my job and take a leap and take a risk and, start my own business. So welcome to my journey. It's going to be a hell of a ride. Thanks for joining me. Anyway, sorry guys. That was a very long-winded explanation of my first point. To summarize it, you get to decide, you have to decide what success is going to look like for you, what's going to make you happy, and how you're going to achieve it. And side note, because it's not going to look the same for everyone, not everybody's going to understand your vision, why you want what you want. And that's okay, girl, because at the end of the day, your happiness is your only responsibility. So just keep that in mind. Moving along, the second thing that people don't realize about success is that it is totally a mindset. There's no secret formula to being successful other than being clear on what you want and, like we just talked about, and having the right mindset for it. Nobody was gifted any special opportunities because they were the lucky chosen ones. It wasn't passed down to them in some special DNA recipe. No, it's purely mindset. Now, granted, I don't want to take away from people being dealt bad cards in life. I agree people are sometimes given a bad hand in life, for sure. But I don't think anybody's starting point is going to hold them back from being successful. Are there some people in life at a great disadvantage compared to others? Yes. Has that ever held anybody back from making it? No. Is it 10 times harder? Absolutely. I'm not here to invalidate that. I'm just saying, no matter where you're starting from, what stands between you being unsuccessful and successful is your mindset. When I tell you that anybody can be successful, I mean that. When I tell you that everybody has potential, I truly mean that. If you find yourself at a disadvantage, fine. If you lack the resources, the knowledge, the connections, fine. But all that can change. But none of that at the same time is going to change until your mindset does. You have to start believing yourself from the very beginning, from day one, or it's never going to happen. No matter how big or practical the vision may be, it's not going to happen until you put your mind to it, essentially. You have got to be your biggest fan and your biggest believer. The only thing standing between you and success is making the decision that you're going to be successful. And of course, the journey to success is not going to be all rainbows and butterflies. It's freaking hard. Absolutely, it's hard. You just have to stay committed to your success and the vision that you have for yourself. I'm sure y'all have seen the posts that's like, marriage is hard, being single is hard, you choose your hard, dieting and exercising is hard, being physically inactive and eating poorly is hard, you choose your hard. For me, working a 9-to-5 job, so to speak, and working for somebody else and working 40 hours a week was hard. Starting my own business and working for myself and setting my own hours, that sounds great, but it's still hard. And I chose my hard at the end of the day. While both decisions are hard, one of them significantly stood out to me because it was in alignment with what I envisioned for my life. If something's going to be hard either way, I might as well do the thing that resonates with me the most, you know? So being unsuccessful is hard. Being successful is hard. You choose which hard that you want to put up with. You choose which end result you want. You choose what you want for your life and dedicate yourself to it, pretty much. The day that you decide, this is the path I choose for myself, this is what I'm going to dedicate myself to, that's really the day that you start being successful. It doesn't matter if you're starting to reap what you've sown yet, or if you've barely even sown anything in the first place, you know? That's going to come because you are choosing something that is so deeply rooted in your desires and what is in alignment with your life. It's just inevitable for you to reap what you sow and to reap the benefit and to enjoy the fruit of your labor. You've just got to start paying attention to how things make you feel. Does waking up to go to your job every day make you feel absolutely miserable the way I felt in my job? Well, then it's probably time that you reevaluate that path in your life and maybe see if you can choose something else that's going to give you more of like quality to your life. When you start making your decisions in life based off of how something actually makes you feel instead of basing it off of somebody else's feelings or somebody else's ideas, you're going to be just a hell of a lot happier. Like, that's it. So that's another thing I tell my clients, start paying attention to how things make you feel, because that's a huge indicator on whether you should be in a situation or not. So essentially, it's all in your head. And at the end of the day, you decide. It took me 24 years in this life to realize you are totally free to live life on your terms. I had to break myself from the bondage of people pleasing and caring about what other people thought in order to literally live my best life. So don't be afraid to just ignore the world and do what's best for you. What my life looks like, what my success looks like, what my business looks like, what my relationships look like. It's all according to my terms and how I want things done. And nobody can tell me any different. And nobody can say I'm wrong for that. Because it's my life at the end of the day. I refuse to disappoint myself for the sake of not disappointing others. Thank you, Glennon Doyle, for that good saying. You are solely responsible for how your life turns out. And honestly, if you don't like how things are going in your life, there's nobody to blame at the end of the day but you. Like I mentioned before, I understand people are dealt a bad hand. I understand people are put at a disadvantage. But it's never something that you can't bring yourself out of. And sometimes we have to stop having the pity parties for ourselves and take some self-accountability as to why we're in the situation that we're in. If you're unhappy with how your life is going, you have the full authority to change that. Anyway, I hope this helped. Reach out if you have any questions. I'm going to leave my link tree in the comments. This was just kind of like my beginner first premiere pilot, whatever you want to call it, episode of my podcast. I'm going to continue to talk more about college and career related things since that's what my life coaching services are about. But this was just a good starter episode for you to get a taste of some of the things that I'll be talking about. So feel free to reach out if you've got any questions, and I hope to see you back here again soon.